The 7-line prayer in Tibetan and English, and then a minute of meditation. And then we begin.
Okay. Northwest border of
You are renowned as the lotus form, surrounded by your retinue of unlimited peace. Following you in my practice, I pray you will come to earth for your blessings. Guru and city home.
And so the floor is now open for you to ask questions of Rinpoche about your practice, your study, if you are in discussion, book discussion group, whatever is uppermost on your mind. Thank you.
Okay. But not stock market. I don't know any those indexes back in the phone, any of those. I only know the Dow Jones and what's called that other one? S&P. S&P. Okay.
Hi, Rinpoche.
Yes, yes.
I have a question about the three kayas, and from the root text on, I guess it's page 35. It says, "Do not reject the thoughts, see them as dharmakaya." Could you say something about the three kayas and how they relate to us?
Three kayas generally, of course, is something that all the Mahayana and Vajrayana practitioners' goal to achieve realization of the three kayas, dharmakaya and the buddhakaya, dharmakaya and the sambhokaya and the nirmakaya, those three kayas. They are also, therefore, also externally existing dharmakaya, such as known as Buddha Samudabhadra. And then dharmakaya, sambhokaya Buddha, such as Buddha Vajrasattva, nirmakaya Buddha, such as Buddha Shakyamuni. Those are known as the Buddhas of the three kayas. And but according to the Dzogchen level, the ultimate level, the three kaya is not just only the external existing or that we see, but naturally inherent to all of us that three kaya, because in the Buddha's teaching that everyone inherited the Buddha nature. Everyone has the opportunity to become the Buddha, and they can achieve the dharmakaya, the sambhokaya, and nirmakaya. So then, where is that? Where is that the three kayas now? And then that is when it comes, then is no other any other places except our mind. Three kayas in our mind. And so in the then Dzogchen teaching, so what is that dharmakaya? Is our nature of the mind. Nature of the mind. Mind has generally three qualities. It has three qualities known as the emptiness, the clarity, and the displace. Those are the really that we can experience that three qualities of the mind. So these three, the nature is no other than the three kayas. So dharma, the emptiness aspect of the nature of the mind is dharmakaya. The clarity aspect of the nature of the mind is sambhokaya. And then display. That means that the arising thought, all these thoughts are dharmakayas. So therefore, mind is the ultimate level, mind is the embodiment of the three kayas. And therefore, in the Dzogchen teaching, always in the teaching said, and what do you say? There's something that quotation. You read that? What book? What is it?
This is from the root text.
Uh huh.
It says, "Do not reject the thoughts; see them as dharmakaya."
That's true. So rejecting thought is what that actually really means. According again, the ultimate level, you are discriminating. You want something, you don't want something. Wanting and not wanting is a discrimination. And ultimately, wanting and not wanting is then dualities, is ego tricks. Therefore, don't reject a thought. And also, don't stop in thought. Then on the Dzogchen teachings, I'm sure it's there too, always said, let it come, let it go, let it be. That is what really the nature. Because when your thought comes, you're not making any effort, or nobody is making any effort to come thoughts. The thoughts are coming naturally. And also, if you don't hold naturally thoughts goes away. It's not going to stay. And where is that thought happening? In the state of the emptiness. What that means? If you look at where that thought is existing, where it come from, where it is existing, where it went, there's no any pinpoint location that you can see at all. And that is in the Buddha teaching or the Dzogchen teaching known as dharmakaya. That is the basic nature of everything. So that is really, but that nature is with us. Therefore, if we meditate and practice it continually, do good things, and then discover good things means also nothing is we are going to do alien or anything that beside our goodness of the nature. Bring more love, more kindness, more compassion, and let that come, let that be, let that display, and then continually enjoying the moment, then that is known as the really you're relaxing, enjoy the beauty of the nature of our mind, beauty of the nature of the others, or externally.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Rinpoche, again.
Yeah.
Where does karma begins? Does it begins in our thoughts? Does our thoughts have karmic
karma
effect?
begins from the thought. Really, karma is, again, in the Buddha teaching, that the Buddha's first teaching is called Four Noble Truth. You all know Four Noble Truth. the suffering truth, cause of suffering truth, and path truth, cessation truths. So this cause of suffering truth is the beginning of the karma. And that what is that cause of suffering truth is negative emotions, and it is activities. Negative emotions is the fundamental cause or the root of the karma. And that negative emotion comes from what? Then if we go back, it comes from, most of the time, ego clingings. If that way is ego clinging come from, is dualities. Where duality comes from, it comes from ignorance. Where ignorance comes from, it comes grasping, clinging. The clinging is the root of the troubles. Where is that clinging? There's no way you can point, nothing you can say. So it is coming from emptiness. Emptiness is happening in the emptiness and is dissolving, merging back to the emptiness. That duality is our own, nobody forced us, but our own habit pattern. With the mistakenly or the ignorantly, we begin to grasping, clinging, and then that is then it creates more, and is igniting, or what's called clashing back and forth in the mental state. It creates fabricated, and they become known as the ego clinging. Is one of the clinging too. Ego is one of the clinging, and then that becomes the more kind of that more expanded, and then is all those negative emotions, 5 poisons, so forth, and then activity of the 5 poisons, as we chant in a prayer of the Zampo. Then all those creation comes. All those troubles are then one after another is coming as like nightmare dreams. Yes.
Rinpoche, you once spoke of how the afflictive emotions and the 5 poisons are misunderstanding of the correlating wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
Would you speak a little about how our emotions are just a misunderstanding of the ignorance of the wisdom
Because
therein?
Again, even though we say negative emotion, I mean, negative emotion is bad. Of course, is bad. But negative emotions, if you think, the nature of the negative, there's nothing really, if you look at those emotions, there's nothing existing. There's nothing in it. Even, for example, raging anger comes. It is a big disturbance. It's disturbing one's own peaceful mind status. It's disturbing others. But where is that anger? If you look, as a Dzogchen teacher or as a gracious teacher Buddha pointed out, there's nothing really existing at all. At all. We are grasping. What is we grasping? We get that emotion, we're holding onto that. We get more, that means we get keeping up that fuel. And not just a fuel, maybe more adding that, getting accelerating back and forth. And that is the same nature of all the emotions too. For that reason, in the Dzogchen teaching, often said, liberated it. And to where? To the wisdom status. And also wisdom is not something solid existing there is. But it stops that disturbances. Instead that it brings a new energy in the mental status, calm and peace, and more soothing and more understandings. So therefore it's called wisdom. So then if you go, each of those negative emotions is known as the 5 wisdoms. Those 5 poisons are the nature of the 5 poisons are nature of the 5 wisdoms, or there are 5 wisdoms. And so then this anger is wisdom of the mirror-like wisdoms. Anger is mirror-like wisdoms. And jealous is all accomplishing wisdoms. And then wisdom of the attachment is wisdom of the discrimination, awareness wisdoms. And then the arrogance is arrogant is the wisdom of the equanimity wisdoms. Then the 5th one is the ignorance. The ignorant is known as the wisdom of the Dharma Dhatu, or Dharma Dhatu wisdom. So those are the 5 wisdoms where they are kind of activating of the activating, outreaching to the externally. Reality, all those are really there is nothing solid existing at all, and therefore all is within the dharmakaya status or dharma dhatu status wisdoms. So therefore, I mean, even though there are so big disturbances of these emotions, if you handle that so nicely, and that's why many times in the Dzogchen teaching said, as much as the emotions are bigger, as much as our wisdoms are growing. That if you can handle that with, then of course if you can't handle, then as much as emotion comes, that might become the disturbances.
Thank you so much, Rinpoche. Thank you.
Yes, Jane? Yeah, okay.
Good morning, Rinpoche.
Yes, good morning.
When the body dies and the soul or Rigpa separates from the body, how long can it remain separated before it decides to reincarnate?
Darling, according to teaching, that decision is not really we are making decisions. I mean, only who can make the decision is those people who had good stabilization of the meditation, or good practitioners. They can make some decisions, or when they're going to reincarnate it, or when they're going to take the rebirth. But otherwise, majority people can't have any choices. Following the karma, that's really karmic wind. Following the karmic wind. So for that reason, according to the teaching, the maximum average and the minimum average. And maximum average, according to teaching, after the people one died and their consciousness can stay for 49 days. 49. That is the average maximums. Minimum average is 3 days. That is the minimum average. And then between that, again, of course, is karma. And some individuals could take rebirth very soon, not just 3 days, very soon. Some individuals, due to the karma, again, can stay a long time, according to teaching, even after 49 days. So this is all kind of like, then now, mostly is really the completely kind of controlled, regulated by one's own karmas most of the time.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Jane.
Rinpoche, at the prayer, sometimes we are praying for.
Pardon?
We are free from 4 extremes.
Mm-hmm.
So existing, non-existing, both and neither.
Mm-hmm.
Could you please about both and neither, or the situations one practitioner may encounter during our practice of the view, that we talked a lot about existing and non-existing, but both and either, how could that happen to practitioner? Like extreme views.
This is what's known as when you practice or when you're starting the Buddha teaching is called known as view. meditation, and then result or the achievement and conduct.
Yeah.
So this existing, non-existing, neither is generally more applied to the view.
View, yeah.
View. The view is the what you are really going to meditate. Meditate. So what is the view is? That view is what you meditate. According to Buddhism, you meditate on the true nature. True nature of the, whether it is an external phenomena or whether it is the inner mind or mind. So let's we talk with more kind of practical way, simple way to talk with the mind. So now mind is free from existing, non-existing, neither and either. That means is also, this is generally in the Buddha teaching, what you all know that relative truth and absolute truths. Meditation is, when we're meditating, we're engaging with the absolute truth. So absolute truth of the nature of the mind is free from that poor extremes or for that. So now when we look at that to the mind, to apply that to mind is existing or mind is not existing. If you ask that questions and what you have the answer? What do you have the answer? What do we have the answer? Is really mind existing? If somebody asks, is mind existing? Of course we will say, yes, mind is existing. But where is the mind? That is question now. Because you're going to say, yes, existing. Of course, everyone will say. But where is that? So what we will find, or what will be our answer? Where is that? So that is when there is nothing answer. It's not that nothing we don't. It, according to the teaching, is not something that we are dumb that we didn't found. Because we are so smart, that's why we didn't found. Really. For therefore reason, what he said there. In the Buddha teaching said, when you don't find, that is a greater found. Yeah, that is a greater found. So then now we say there is not existing mind in reality level, absolute levels. But then, if we say, oh, there is no mind at all, then all this intelligence are coming. All these thoughts are coming. Where then, if there is no mind, where is it coming? Coming. So then what do we answer again? Where is it coming? So for that reason, is also mind is free from not existing. So it is existing, so free from existing and free from non-existing. So it is true. There's nothing really we can pinpoint where mind is coming. So that's what is called free from existing and non-existence. I mean, that is what. And then, neither said. And then mind is any of those neither means so then mind is existing, non-existing. Is this the one is something that existing, also non-existing? But where is then that? Where is that? It's just only the mind, the conception, the duality is trying to hold something, but there is nothing really we can find. So therefore, then it says, is free from the existing, non-existing, or what's called existing, non-existing, and neither. Neither, because this is just making you the world like that, but there is nothing really is existing at all. And then if it also is neither either that, That's the same thing. If there is no existing, no exist, not is free from existing, non-existing, and neither, then either is the same thing. It's just a conception, but there is nothing really solid existent where we can hold. So that's what is called, is nature is free from the extremes. For that extremes, and that's what also in the Buddha teaching in Heart Sutra, the same thing. Form is the emptiness, emptiness the form. It's no other than there's nothing really substantial, solid existing that you can grasping or hold, and in any of that can hold onto that as existing. Because this is, as I said, it is examining the absolute truth, how it is. On the relative truth, yes, existing mind is existing, and mind is also sometimes not. I mean, all this we can apply the relative truth, but absolute truth, there is nothing really solid existing that either of those we can hold onto that. And when we discover that and relax on that status and continually maintain that, and that is known as the keeping the will, which is meditation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Related to what you were just speaking about, form is emptiness and emptiness is form. On page 34, it is of the root text, a beautiful, simple sentence. Thus awareness in which appearance and emptiness are inseparably united is the natural sovereign of the three kayas and the nature of primordial reality. Absolutely gorgeous, and it is a restatement of form is emptiness and emptiness is form.
Okay, thank you.
Just one question. The next sentence is the dharmakaya beyond mind is suchness.
Mm-hmm.
Could you kindly comment upon the statement by Guru Padmasambhava, the dharmakaya? This is on page 34 of the root text, right?
Mm-hmm.
The dharmakaya beyond mind is suchness.
Mm-hmm. Again, in the Dzogchen teaching, in according to Dzogchen teaching, mind is duality. Mind is duality. So therefore, what is here, what is mentioned here, the dharmakaya is, if I use the word, dharmakaya is beyond the duality, instead mind.
That's what I was missing. Mind is
Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, that's it. Mind is, and therefore, for example, in the Dzogchen teaching, distinctions between awareness and mind. Awareness is beyond the duality. In the Dzogchen teaching, in the Tibetan word, but it's translated into English awareness, but in the Tibetan word is known as rukpa. Rukpa is translated into English awareness, but rukpa and mind. Rukpa in Tibetan word, rukpa and same. Same is mind. Same is duality. Rukpa is not duality. It is pristine awareness beyond duality. So dharmakaya is pristine awareness, and therefore mind is awareness is beyond duality. And when you discover that, and that is suchness, or that is dharmakaya.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Yes. Oh, thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Rinpoche. Even though in the bardo we're basically blown along by karma, I've often wondered if the wisdom mind at all has any influence in sort of guiding us within the extent of our karma to a rebirth that will somehow help us with whatever it is that we're struggling with that's keeping us from reaching enlightenment.
Definitely, according to teaching, it definitely wisdom has a lot of influences. And particularly when we are practitioners, really there is many opportunities coming to regain, so that we can have some stabilization of the taking the rebirth or our directions. And that is, for example, in the teaching said, liberating the enlightenment in the moment of the death, liberating the enlightenment or getting enlightenment right after the death as a dharmakaya status, and then after that, then liberating after that, or getting enlightenment in the sambhokaya status, and then getting enlightenment or the high, nice kind of rebirth in the nirmakaya status. Also, that part, those are really mentioned. So there's so many opportunities, particularly being as practitioners, that even though we didn't get highest realization within these lifetimes, but due to the practices that really we can get a lot of opportunities and can get that can turn that directions, and that is in the teaching said, for example, moment of death, and then all those like transitions coming, like kind of like according. I mean, of course, there's many ways to passing us, but majority is again kind of graduations, and graduations. So therefore, then each time those are like different element is dissolving. So this element is dissolving. That time with different experiences, many different things externally, internally, and then more kind of secret level. So if really we are good practitioners, those indications, those inner signs are immediately kind of indicating that now we are in the process of the leaving or changing our situation. So they restabilizing of their meditation and their practices, and therefore then they can reach kind of good realization at that moment. And somehow if we couldn't, that happened, if we've been good practitioner or practicing dzogchen, such as the view what we're talking, that's dzogchen meditation, and according to teaching, when we passed away, or that moment of death, the two elements are merging, kind of like white element and red element that we obtained from our parents are coming, losing their positions and coming in different places. I mean, the white element is mainly according to Corona chakra, and red element that essential is below navel chakra, and then that kind of positions are losing. Kind of one is coming down, and when is coming down, and also that moment, there's inner vision that individuals are really begin to experience. Such everything becomes so kind of white. Everything as white is experience coming, and one is red is positions losing, coming up. That individual experiencing such that everything becomes so red, and then this position kind of both come up and down, and according to teaching, it will meet at the heart level, heart center, around heart, and there then consciousness trapped. And that moment, that individual is begin experience completely kind of dark and blank status. Nothing is completely that. And that state is according to teaching it really won't stay a long time. It's just a moment, maybe just like even less than 1 minute could stay that. No, could again depends with the individual, but it stays maybe just a short time, very short time. When that kind of the gliding together, kind of that strength lost it, and then it kind of breaks away, and that moment now the consciousness become completely single, kind of come out of that trap. And that moment, according to the teaching, in the Dzogchen teaching, said that time the individual is experiencing the perfect dharmakaya, what we're talking, the perfect dharmakaya realization, really, and brilliant as a blue sky, like autumn sky, clear, pristine, building under that, and we individually have been practicing this lifetimes, that kind of like what you see that moment, and what you meditate and practice, and what you learn that in kind of immediately connected, that immediately that connected by your confidence. You got, oh, this is the realization state. And that moment, that individually really reaching the dharmakaya status. And then there's no more pathos that you have to go through. Right there, you reach the enlightenment. Somehow, we couldn't recognize, it's just also short time, and couldn't connect with that. Then there is many signs will come. And those are known as light, beams of light and sound. Those all is not just external existence, is all a display of our primordial wisdoms. Light. And that those are, when it comes, according to teaching again, those people who really practice it, such as Dzogchen, like Toga practitioners, if they see that light, they see that is again one's own display of the nature of the mind. So immediately they, instead like, usually what happened according to teaching, when those visions comes, immediately we react. Most of the time people reacted, and then they become really begin with nightmares. Is reacting, right, and the subject and object, and to some degree we are scared that we like to hide this and that, and then it's kind of just goes on and on that. But instead that moment those appeared, and then you recognize as one's own your display of the nature as the toggle displays, and that moment then also individuals are really reaching enlightenment in the Sambhogaya states. No more further pathos. Then if that couldn't happen, that, and then according to teaching, then again there's many displays will come one after another, and those all, then the peaceful wrath of deities displays are begin to coming up one after another, and then this lifetime if we are really practitioner of the such as like visualization of those deity practices, and then that those images come, whatever the forms comes, immediately you kind of reconnect it. Instead scared, reject, or instead like to hide or going away, you kind of merge it with that, and those are then known as also really then it will stop the rebirth. And then if it didn't happen, then continually we get all this one after another kind of just going, and then according to teaching you, so 49 days, if we say if that average is 49 days, and it has I think 5 weeks, so 2.5 weeks you get all those visions, one after another, all those visions. And after 2.5 weeks, and then it started coming more habit patterns of the future of rebirth. Wherever we taking that kind of like environment is like coming up more and more that. And if those happened, if those people he'd have some stabilization of their meditation, and that is called, then you're choosing the dharmakaya path. So now you're going to take the rebirth somewhere, but I'm going to take rebirth something right places, right way. So kind of you have some stabilize that and be with the mindfulnesses, and then take the rebirth, and that's called like transforming the pardo in the dharmakaya situations. Those are not. So there's many like definitely opportunities comes in the wisdom and that, and then is also our definitely karmic things too.
Thank you,
okay,
Rinpoche.
thank you. Yes, thank you.
This Rinpoche is actually a follow-up question from page 35. On page 35 it says people have so many responsibilities in modern times, and then it goes on to say, you know, how to best practice under the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So can you comment on how we can bring our practice to work, in work-related situations, and maybe an increasingly competitive environment?
Mm-hmm.
How do we deal with that? We still have to work with other people. We need to get money. You know, money to put food on the table. You know. So how do we deal with that on a daily basis and still keep our humility in our practice?
Yeah, that is generally, John. This is the practice is not out. Practice is in with our mind. Really, that's it. Practice generally is not the way out you look, but practice is ultimately how you taking care of your mind. That is really the practices. Practices. So in that way, and of course externally you do stay in a meditation in a room and have shrine, all those things is definitely is very important. But most of the time we practices transforming our daily activities into Dharma is because always a little bit, as many as you can, a little bit kind of looking to our mind. Even for a few seconds, really, I think it's really well helped. Where is my mind? And then when sometimes like stressful or the emotional things in the workplaces, instead they kind of completely saturated to the external focuses. But when you have some quiet times, look inwardly. Inwardly, take deeper breathings and release. Long exhale, breathe, express, and look to your mind. Look to the relaxing that way. And then also kind of like occasionally bring out a little more compassion. So the body is the attitudes. All this what I'm doing, what I'm trying to do is to benefit to all the sentient beings. May that help or benefit it somehow really reach that transform that situation into the Dharma by compassion and the power of the body. Also thinking of that in a few minutes or throughout the day. Those are all known as really transforming the situation more in a Dharma ways. Dharma ways that. And so that is really said that then, but whenever you can have some times or when you have, even in the workplaces, if you're alone or quiet, maybe 2-3 minutes, just a little relax and kind of meditate, look inwardly and just bring more joy and appreciation, compassion, and also some degree of the compare kind of what's called comparing. In the world there's so many troubles and difficulties, but to compare with that what I have is not too big things. So I'm so thankful, so grateful. I will do good things to benefit to myself, to the others. May that happen by the blessings of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So those are all I will say.
Thank you, Rinpoche.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I missed a minute.
Thank you, Rinpoche. I'm going to try to form this question because it's still a little bit of a unformed thought. But you've been talking about Rigpa as non-duality mind. Our primordial awareness is non-duality mind, which means there's no subject-object separation.
Mm-hmm.
Even in the most settled periods of meditation where thoughts come and go, there is still a sense of an I. There is still a sense of a perceiver to what is.
Uh-huh.
Does that weaken with practice, or will it require becoming fully enlightened before that I really dissolves? I mean, it seems like it's dug in there so hard. And
that is Marian. That will take some time, but when you're able to relax in the nature like that way, and really is good. Is good. I mean, that's a really good success. But to go away completely thought of the I, it really will take time. And that's what in the Buddha teaching, those you heard, 5 paths, 10 bhumis. Bhumis, those are the stages of the realization and level you are discovering, or you are free from the grasping attachments. So that will take time, but if we continue meditating like this according to Dzogchen teaching, then really can get the enlightenment, and within these lifetimes of that. Still, I mean, it takes time. It's not going to go immediately away, because it is thought of the I, or this I is not just developed recently. According to Buddha teaching, it is really came from the long time ago. it is very difficult to completely go away immediately. It'll take, but if we do continue to this, practice the meditating, and then we can use also this I or this thought of I to benefit to the others, to inspire that. So it's not something that is completely bad all the time, but if we handle that, thinking of subject and object, we can benefit to the others, but at the same time soften our ego and soften our eyes or the attitude of eyes, and then discover the really nature of the as it is. But so is nothing really too bad all the time. But if we kind of carry with that force, then it becomes big disturbances. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yeah.
Rinpoche, I just had a question regarding cutting through attachment and aversion. If you had any advice as to how to cut through attachment and aversion after one has been introduced to the view.
What?
After one has been introduced to the view, if you had any advice as to how to cut through attachment and aversion.
And that is, generally all our practice in meditation really will help to cut the attachment, right? That's what it's talking, right? The attachment.
Right. I meant also in terms of like everyday, like say like, likes, dislikes, the type of aversion or attachment generated through all of this.
Yeah. But that generally the attachment, again, as the same way what Marian discussing that, so it's really difficult immediately to cut that completely. But if we have the good, always trying to have good mindfulness, really good mindfulness. The moment we are having disturbance of the attachment, instead of always objecting that or the following after that, and look to yourself or to that thought of the attachment, and then immediately look to that thought. That moment when you look to that the attachment thought, you're really cutting your attachment. That moment, you cut that immediately. So what cut? It cut that the continuing flowing attachment, you stop to that. And then when you look to your mind, to look to your mind where that attachment coming, there's not, again, the same thing as we discussed many times. There's nothing in existence. It is completely open emptiness status. So that is really the cutting attachments. But for example, good and bad and hope and fear, all these things during the daytime, then let us, as much as we can bring, let the strength of the mindfulnesses and not holding too much of that. With the worry and with the anxiety or whatever that, if you don't do that, that is your handling of the attachments or those difficulties. So that's what really we should, that's how we can reduce the attachment. And cutting is that what I said. According to Dzogchen teaching, and that's it, look to the source of the attachment moment is raging, and that means you that moment you cut it. That's it. You cut it without a subject and object. Yeah. Okay.
And aversion, you were speaking about attachment. Aversion would be the same thing. Rejection of something.
Same thing. All these emotions, anything emotions, whatever that is, really, if we look to cut that by the practices, that is looking to that each of those emotions, and then when you look, there's nothing substantial existing, and let it go. That's it. Let it go, and relax in that state for a few minutes or few seconds, whatever you can do. That is known as cutting that. But it didn't mean it completely you uprooted that. That will take time, and that will take time. Do that again and again, and that is known as practicing. We are practicing.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Okay, anyone? Yeah, wow, that's so good then. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Rinpoche, thank you so much. Last week we talked just a little bit about pure relative truth. Is pure relative truth then something like being in a state of non-returner, or can you have moments of pure relative truth and then impure relative truth?
Mm-hmm.
Does it go back and forth, or once you're there,
No.
are you always there?
No, it depends. It really depends. If you have the really good realization, then it is a non-return status.
Okay.
But pure relative truth is what that actually means. I'm sure maybe I spoke that the other day, and maybe you already know. But pure relative truth is what Buddha see these objects. Or what like Guru Pema Sambhava see, or Buddha Shakyamuni see everything, subject, object. That is pure relative truth. Or in other words, if I say that when you say pure land, when we're talking pure land, that pure land, those individuals who are in pure land, what they see is pure relative truths. Everything is pure relative.
Okay.
It is relative, but it is pure.
Okay.
It's a relative truth is pure.
Okay.
So that's it. But for us to see that, that is again, it won't come immediately. But when we are good meditator, and good kind of experiences, then when you look to the world or when you think, it's kind of quite good and nice. Even we have a difficult, hard times that, but when you are really good meditated, kind of feels good. Feels good. And that is the beginning of the pure relative truth. Feels good, quite okay, or I don't care. That attitude, all that is really beginning of the dawn of the pure relative truth.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yes.
So now then, my question is, what is the difference between pure relative truth and absolute truth? Now I got confused, which I think is a good thing, to be a little confused.
Okay. Pure relative truth and absolute truth. Absolute truth, what we talk, is the Buddha teaching same, really same everywhere, is beyond the conception. That is absolute truth. Pure relative truth is still you can play with conceptions. For example, those individuals in the pure land of the Buddha Amitabha, it didn't mean all of that beyond the duality. There still are practitioners, many of that, according to you. For example, when we do the prayer in the pure land, Buddha Amitabha said, may I be born in the pure land, Buddha Amitabha. From there, I can achieve all the Burmese in one after another. That. So that means they are really, they are still dualities. But because the power of the Buddha's blessings and your power of the inspirations, now you reach to that stage, so there is no more difficulty, troubles that become the hindrance of our practice or discovering our nature of the mind. But at the same time, there's so many supporters and so inspire ours. No, we don't feel laziness to practices or distracted that, then continue to grow that. So that is really the pure. Then when you get completely in the enlightened state, then everything is become purity. And that is then, as I said, about how Buddha sees. For example, what is Buddha teaching? Say that in pure, what's called this? What are we talking now? Pure states of the purity of the relative truth. Purity of relative truth. What it said? The 5 elements, the 5 female Buddhas. 5 aggregates are 5 male Buddhas. That is the purity state of the pure relative truths. According to the purity, that level, realization level, this all the existing things, there is what we see is a relative truth, but it's pure relative truth. So all is enlightenment, not the emotions, not negativity, not that. All really is a display of the everything as 5 Dhyana Buddha or 5 female Buddha, and then as well as that, or sometimes they say that everything is a display of the male and the female and the children of the Buddha, some of the Buddhas. Those are really the expression of the pure relative truths.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we do one. Yeah, praise.
Page 11, the short dedication of merit, just that one page.
Okay,
in
page
English.
11. Okay. You remember?
By this merit,
Oh, this is going there. Sorry. Really. Thank you. Thank you everyone. Thank you very much everyone. Thank you very much everyone. Thank you. I really have one request and a kind of this is one of the wishes, and that is I like to make if we can this spot as like very nice and beautiful as Zen gardens. Really like that. This one. So then when we open this curtains, and also looks like kind of extension of the room or the temple is kind of nice in this Buddha garden already. So really, if anybody has some thoughts and how to make this, and I mean it's already beautiful, but still kind of a little bit added. Really, it's just maybe I don't know again how that is. I maybe mentioned to Lorraine too. We have quite what's called waterfalls, small waterfalls. Small waterfalls, maybe really we can, I mean, Jeff is repairing. Maybe if that happened, but if it's distracting mosquitoes, all those things, then maybe, but otherwise, maybe really, if that is possible to put that spring, the waterfall, small ones, and nice, and then how to make this kind of put this some pebble stones, or if not kind of if that needed, then put the sands and maybe put this what's called this, the slate stones, and then of course somewhere you believe that's like those plants exactly that, but just really if we can make this, then it's just an extension of that, because also since there is a fence that is so the people outside can see, it won't become the distractions of those who are practicing here. So then it's really nice. So that's my idea. So if there is any way that you can have kind of come up idea and a thought and to walk that as a sangha walk, also I will come too. And we all kind of do that. Really great. Really great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
A little bit of a pure land.
Really pure land, like as nice. I always like the Zen garden, but not the sand Zen garden, but something really so beautiful, not so busy, but also so nice. Yeah, very beautiful.
Thank you, Khenpo.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.